podcast. I'm your host, Mari Reesberg. Over the past several years, I've combined my degrees in acting and somatic psychology to share my sustaining creativity techniques with performers. And now I've decided to share it with a bigger audience that includes you. I believe we are all creative, and this podcast is all about that. I'll be interviewing people from all backgrounds, ages, and creativity experiences to share just how creative we all are. Today, I'll be chatting with Lane Kennedy and Tamar Medford. They're the podcast hosts of Laughing Without Liquor. Please enjoy Lane Kennedy and Tamar Medford. Welcome to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. Today, I am here with two guests, Tamar Medford and Lane Kennedy, the podcast hosts of Laughing Without Liquor. Welcome to the podcast.
I feel like having a party right now.
Yay! Yeah, thanks. Me too.
Thanks for having us.
I am super excited to chat with both of you about creativity and learn all of the pieces about how it shows up in your life. But before we get there, if both of you want to share a little bit more about who you are and what you do.
My name's Tamar Medford, and I'm your friendly Canadian. I actually reside in Vancouver, BC, Canada. So West Coaster. And yeah, I'm a neurochange method practitioner. And after getting sober 11 years ago, I decided I needed to find my purpose in life. And today I get to help women create a life so good for themselves that they never want to go back to their old way of living. So it's just been such a fun journey. I'm a co-parent of three, also a co-parent of three dogs. And so my life is full, but it's extremely satisfying.
I love
it.
So
Satisfying.
So satisfying.
So satisfying. My name's Lane Kennedy, and I am the co-host of Laughing Without Liquor. I am a mother of one awesome neurodivergent kiddo. I live in the beautiful city of San Francisco. I'm a meditation and mindfulness teacher, but I nerd out and help people with their DNA and understand how DNA can really shape their lives and how they can live the second half or the later half or the new half of their life better. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I have 2 Irish wolfhounds. So I'm a mom of furry friends as well.
So the collection, 5 dogs, 4 children.
That's a lot.
It's a large family.
We do a lot of laughing.
Yes, we do.
So good. So good. And it sounds like both of you have used creativity in a variety of ways in your own lives. And starting a new podcast can definitely bring out the challenges in creativity and putting it out into the world. I want to start by just asking both of you, what does it mean to you to be creative?
For me, it's letting something else work through me, like my best self, my better self, to come through. You know, I wrote my first book when I was like newly sober, newly into my recovery. And, you know, I always thought, oh, I'm going to be a singer, or I'm always going to be an artist. I'm always going to be like, but there was no art coming out of me because I was drinking so much. And so when I found recovery, I actually put the pen to paper and wrote pen to paper, no typewriter, but wrote the words out. And I thought, oh my God, I'm a creator. I'm a creator. Like I started celebrating and dancing. It was like, oh my God, I have something. There's something inside of me. It was really cool.
Nice. I love that. The experience of creating as not only creating a new self as a sober person, but also creating from that new space.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. How about for you, Tamar?
And for me, it's doing something that you love so much that it gets you into that state of flow where you lose track of time. Because I actually dug up a grade 7 report card that said I was very artistic, but I never pursued that when I went later on in school. But after, deciding to start a podcast, I thought, well, maybe I could do my own website. Maybe I can do my own social media. And I learned that I love building things and I love figuring out things that I don't know and putting them into motion. So yeah, that's what creativity means to me.
That's amazing. I love both of those. And I love the learning and seeking and finding ways to solve problems, and you have to do a lot of that in recovery and in life in general, but that transition into kind of a new way of living your life. How much creativity went in for both of you to your early recovery journey?
So much. It's brushing my teeth was a new creative adventure, right? Washing the dishes, being able to stand at the window and look out and see the Paramount Gate. That was a creative moment. Having the sunset or the moon rise. Like I really completely transformational moments were occurring in my early sobriety. I mean, they happen still today, but they were all creative moments because I recognize them as creative moments because I wasn't available or present before that.
Right. Yeah.
To even see that they were creative moments.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, I remember somebody telling me in early recovery that the moment you start numbing out and drinking is the moment you stop growing. And so I felt like a 14-year-old and I felt like I had to learn everything, including cry, which was very creative. Try not to lose it in public, try not to lose it when you're having an important conversation, but allowing yourself to actually feel those emotions and express them. But I feel like today, the longer that I'm sober for it, the more I learn because I'm more open-minded. And so the more I don't know.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. There's lots to learn.
Now, most people, well, maybe not most people, many people aren't necessarily open to like learning new things or, trying something new. Where do you think you find that spark to learn and grow and change?
So funny story is Tamar and I just had this little retreat and she has, because of the work that she does, she did this little quiz about being open-minded or what was it, Tamar?
Growth mindset.
Growth mindset, or what's the other one? Fixed mindset. And I was very nervous about taking this quiz. I was like, oh my God, I am so fixed and rigid. I have my ways. Okay. Like that's
okay. All right.
But out of the group, Mari, I was the one with the growth mindset. I was like, are you kidding me? It's taken me 26 years to have a flexible growth mindset. I was like, this is so cool, because I used to just be very rigid in my thinking and my ideas and how art was supposed to look, or how the words were supposed to land on the page, or how the notes of the music were supposed to sit, right? It's like I had to evolve, or I had to change, or I had to let go of all that. This is how it's supposed to be. And it feels so good. Oh, good.
I love it.
Yeah, mindset is a big thing. Like I typically ask questions, to people like, do you think you're good at math? Do you think you could, create something? And oftentimes we tell ourselves, no, oh, I'm not good at math. Well, you could be, right, if you practice a little bit more. And so it's really just about learning to embrace mistakes, normalize them, so that it's not a mistake, it's an opportunity. I mean, I have made so many mistakes, especially in the 22 years of my drinking career, that I have so much to learn and so much to grow from. And I think when we learn to look at, those challenges or mistakes that we make as opportunities, then we can start to grow. We can become more open-minded. And I always tell people the simple, and we did this in the thing. It's like, just say, I can't yet. Always add the word yet to everything.
Oh my gosh, what a great, like, sneaky tip to add.
I can't take credit for that.
Right. But yeah, I mean, that one word really changes kind of the energy around a phrase or around an experience for you, or for me, I should say. Even hearing you say it, I can't yet. There's like a little sparkle. I'm like, ooh, well, let me see if I can. Yeah.
So true.
I love it. So, coming back to kind of challenges that you've experienced and stepping into podcasting and just all of the other things that you both do in your lives, how do you face the more creative challenges you come up against?
I hand it over to Tamar. Like, well, you know what? It's like I've learned what I can do.
Yeah.
Right. Like I've learned my limits around my creativity. My voice is my creative vehicle. I know that, and I'm going to own that.
Yeah.
You know, the way that I can hear things. Right. I've taken ownership of that, where like this putting together a graphic, it's like I'm doing stick figures. Okay. I can't. Like I've just accepted that. Like I wanted to be an artist when I was small. And you know what? My stick figures is as far as I've gotten. So
fair.
I think, and that has taken some time to just embrace like, oh, wow, my artistry looks very different than what I thought it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I learned, you know, my art using my voice, because I'm a meditation teacher, right? Using like, I didn't even know that that was an art. I didn't know that that was my creativity until somebody told me. I was like, oh my God, that's so cool.
Well, that person is awesome first.
Yeah. Right.
I'm so glad you found it.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, I really struggled with imposter syndrome when I started this whole thing, because I just thought, who's going to take me serious? And one of my mentors actually said, you know, there's always someone right behind you looking at what you're doing. And she said, who are you not to share your story? She said, I bet you a lot more people can relate to your alcoholism as being someone who on the outside looked like I was very functioning, who had all the things that should have made me happy, but didn't. And she said, why not just put yourself out there? And to get over the imposter syndrome, anytime I would create something new, I really had to take the time to stop and look backwards and see how far I've come and see everything that I've overcome in my life. And if I've overcome that, why can't I overcome this? And I would just do it. I would just take action. And, you know, it taught me how to build websites and all that kind of stuff. So it's really just looking at how far what you've overcome and realizing you can overcome anything.
Those are powerful words. And it reminds me of like how important time to reflect really is in our lives, or time to slow down, time to be with yourself. Whereas oftentimes we're doing other things or turning to substances so we don't have to be with ourselves. We don't want that connection. So yeah, y'all get to learn who you are. But I love that that's kind of how you're navigating creative challenge. And I think reflection is so important.
And I think there's something really great about trying something and just failing.
100%.
Right? Just like me looking at my drawing and being like, my stick figures are just not cutting it. Right? Like, but you know, there's an artist who makes stick figures. Yeah. You know, and he makes a lot of money off that stick figure art. Right. And thinking, wow, like, why didn't I see that? Why did I have to hold on so tightly to what I thought art or creativity was supposed to be? Right. So I like that failing fast of like, okay, I'm going to do something else where it fills my heart. Right. I'm going to try something else that's going to warm my soul, or other people recognize as my talent.
Yeah.
Instead of hanging on to like, gotta do my stick figures.
Right. I'm really struck and reminded about like, we don't oftentimes, myself included, I don't allow myself to be a beginner
Yeah, no.
or to be a novice at something. Everyone has to be the expert or the
so much relief, and so it's refreshing. Just say, hey, can you help me with this? I don't know how to do this. Or can you look at this and just tell me the truth? Oh my God.
That's a big one. And I mean, the journey when Lane and I started doing this together looks completely different than it does today. And there were times where we would spend a week brainstorming, coming up with website ideas. And then the following week, we're like, no, this it doesn't feel good. Because in the moment, we're excited and we're pumped. But we weren't afraid to reconnect after that and say, okay, what needs to change? And it's been such a cool journey. And it just keeps evolving. Like it hasn't stopped evolving.
I love it. I'm so curious, what's the story of the two of you connecting? How long have you been on this working together adventure?
We met in the pandemic. Yeah. In the second year of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right. And we met through a podcasting coach. Yeah. Yeah. And he said, you guys are both in recovery. You should meet. And, fast friends. Boom. Okay, let's hang out. Because I think there's something about people in recovery where there's an understanding. There's something that we just kind of gel or connect.
Yeah.
Is that right? But maybe not, because I don't really gel with. I'm going to take that back out. I'm going to take that out, Mari. No
worries.
There's something though. There was just something about Tamar where we just clicked. Yeah.
Did you feel the same, Tamar?
What's that?
I said, did you feel the same? I'm putting you on the spot here.
No.
That's awesome.
Totally. And it was funny because I'm more introverted. Lane is much more extroverted, which that really complements me. And so I needed somebody like that in my life. But when we first met, like Lane said, right, my podcast coach was like, you women are both sober. You have to get to know each other. And we had an amazing conversation. Lane's like, call me. Here's my number. I didn't call her for 4 months, not because I didn't want to. I thought she was super cool. But then after she had reached back out and said, hey, if you want to come and do this thing on Clubhouse. And after that, I think we talked almost every day after that, because we were like, we can nerd out over like mind science and all this cool stuff, recovery. And I think, it was definitely that connection there, but I am more of the introvert. So sometimes I need people to push, and Lane did that and it was perfect.
I just knew how to ask the right questions. I didn't push you.
No, you didn't push me. You pulled.
But I love it. I love how these relationships form and connections are made and new versions of creativity come alive from them. I want to take a step back a little bit into your own world of childhood creativity. What's your earliest memory of being creative?
Sitting in Golden Gate Park, picking flowers and making the daisy chain necklace.
Oh my gosh, how fun.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And I was probably like, I don't know, 5. But that was just, I have a just solid memory of that.
Okay.
So making jewelry, right? Like that was super cool.
That sounds cool. Mine was a little bit different. The first time I remember that I was really creative was I was about 8 years old, and we lived in a very wooded area. And I built a treehouse in the middle of the forest. Like I
Get
thought,
out of here.
Yeah, I thought I need my own space. I'm 8, and so, but yeah, I built a treehouse and I wanted my own space and I made it happen.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Of course you did.
It's good times.
I love that your 8-year-old self was like, I'm ready for my own space. I'm going to go build it.
Of course, I invited my friends after, but.
Oh, that's fair. That's great.
That kind of shows like but that's true to Tamar. That's true to who you are, right? You're Like you need your space. You need your quality time.
Yes, I do. I do.
Yeah, it's
It's
good.
like treehouse time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Treehouse time.
That's for moving forward. I'm going to say, excuse me, I need my treehouse time.
Yeah, that's so good.
I love it. You both strike me as people who have a lot of things that inspire you in your life. But when you think about in your current experience, who or what inspires you?
For me, it's my dad.
Mm-hmm.
We had a very, very good relationship when I was younger, and I always looked up to him because he went into video production after, my mom told him not to, and he was making good money in the bakery. And I love that he was a baker because I got free donuts every day. Don't get me wrong. But he went for it knowing that it might not work out financially. And there was a lot of years that, I heard my parents arguing because it was a different lifestyle because of that. And he became quite successful doing that. But then, of course, when I went into my addiction, I became incredibly irresponsible. Or I don't know if I ever was irresponsible until I actually got sober. But he was the one that gave me that tough love. And at the time, I hated him for it. I thought he was like just such a jerk. And I remember having these conversations, yelling with him. But when I got sober, he opened up to me and said, listen, I didn't know what to do. Like I was told, give you tough love. And since then, he's totally embraced my lifestyle. We just made a documentary together. And like, I probably am a workaholic because of him. But I love what I do. And it's because I've watched him do what he loves. And I mean, we could talk forever about this stuff, and that's inspiring.
I love it. What a beautiful relationship. And
Inspires? Who inspires me? That's the question.
who or what these
Who
days?
or what? Yeah, these days. I think I've always been really inspired by teachers. Like if I look back on my history as my, my fourth grade music teacher, my second grade reading teacher, into college, it was my psych teacher, teachers, other humans have inspired me to become more creative and more curious. I have two teachers that I'm thinking about in particular. One is one of my meditation teachers, and one is my, excuse me, my DNA teacher. And they both really have this way of inviting me to dig a little bit deeper. And when I dig a little bit deeper, it's like I go into a new land, right? I go into a new environment and I'm exploring it for the first time. And then I get to create from that place or about that place. And I didn't know that that was happening until I met these two teachers that I'm thinking about in particular. And I love that so much. There's a lot of people that, I don't know. They're like, oh, you don't need to pay for meditation or you don't need to pay for mindfulness. Right. And it's, and sometimes I think, oh, you're missing it. Because when you pay a good teacher, when you pay, you transcend, right? So I pay a teacher to teach me how to become someone who can support other people to transcend. And I didn't know that. And again, that's that creative spirit working through them and then through me. And that is amazing. That's so inspiring because I feel different coming from that place.
I mean, I see so many parallels for both of you between the teachers in your life, your dad and then your meditation and DNA teachers, and how those people in your life really have impacted and influenced and inspired you to try things in a different way or put yourself out there in new platforms and new experiences. And it's inspiring to hear that.
I think there's something spiritual. Like when I'm creating a meditation practice, there's something spiritual that works through me that inspires me to create it. Like it just doesn't come from me, right? It's like it's coming from somewhere else. But I have to be available for that, and I have to be willing to listen to it, to hear it come through.
Absolutely.
Which is practice.
Right. Yeah. I was really struck about paying a teacher and like people not wanting to pay for a mindfulness class or something of that nature. But I think you're right with, paying a really good teacher to help you transform something in your own life. And as a therapist, I pay a good therapist to help me work through my stuff so I can help other people work through their stuff. So it makes a lot of sense. For
So
sure.
funny.
Well, when you are interviewing people or working with your clients, I imagine you come across people who don't think they're creative or think they have no creativity in their life. How would you encourage others to find creativity in their lives?
Jump on in there, Tamar, because you're all up in this.
Yes. We actually did this in the workshop that we did. A vision is I asked them 3 questions. It's, what do they love? What are they good at? And what does the world need more of? And when you allow people, and I tell them, even if you think it's impossible, just write it all out. And we actually had a woman that wanted to write, like she loved writing, but again, those beliefs, I'm never going to do that, came in. And so I think a lot of people don't allow themselves to try, right? They right away come at it. I can't do that. But we just kind of give that vision for them. So they write everything down and we start talking in the group and brainstorming. And I think it lights that fire that little bit, even if it gives people a little bit of a spark where they start to explore what that might look like for them. Right? Because when I always tell them to text 3 friends and ask them, if they were to come to you for anything, what would that be? And oftentimes that will highlight their strengths and things that they really thought were their weaknesses. And it can give them more vision and direction. So I live by, find your purpose, do what you love, because you're actually going to enjoy waking up every morning, no matter how hard life gets. So
I love that so much because what I'm hearing is you are encouraging people to daydream and imagine their life how they want it to be. And that is such a huge component of creativity. So I love that you're out in the world doing that.
And if you would have, told me 3 years ago that I'd be, editing and producing podcasts, doing website design and doing social media content, I would have laughed and thought, no, I'm not very artistic or creative. But now when I put in my headphones and that music goes on, I get in that state of flow and it's so much fun to create. So
how wonderful is that? How about for you, Lane? How would you encourage others to find creativity in their lives?
Well, I go to the mindful place. I go to the meditative state, right? I start go look at a tree and just sit there for a while and breathe into the tree and see what happens and listen, right? I have a different approach. That's why we work together, because it's so brilliant. But, we live in such a crazy, go, 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 go world where people just don't listen anymore. There's dishes to do and dogs to feed and kids and it's too much.
Yeah.
But if people just are invited or given permission to slow down, to meditate, to take a mindful moment, they might hear, oh, pick up that pen and write down a paragraph. Go buy some paints, paint with your kid. They might just hear it and then they might just do it.
Yeah.
So mine's a little softer approach.
I don't know. There's a lot of action in it.
I guess.
No, I think both of these are great. And thank you for the tips and the little reminders, because you're right. We get really caught up in the momentum of life and can miss out on those creativity opportunities sometimes. So great reminders. Well, it has been such a treat to chat with both of you. I have one last question. What does it feel like in your body to be creative?
Free.
Free. Okay.
Fulfilled.
Ooh, I love it. Free and fulfilled. What a great way to wrap up a creativity conversation. If people want to learn more about your podcast and the other things that you do, how could they go about doing that?
The best way is to go to our website, which is laughingwithoutliquor.com. And of course, on your podcast player, you can look for laughingwithoutliquor.com as well. And you'll find all our social media handles there.
Beautiful.
You can also find me at lanekennedy.com.
Awesome. Thank you both so much for taking the time to chat with me. It has been such a treat to kind of play with creativity with both of you.
So good to be here, Mari. Thanks so much for having me. And Tamar.
Thanks for having us.
You are so welcome.
Thanks for listening to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. We'd love to keep in touch, so follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We are at Sustaining Creativity. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Tag your friends and family so they can listen too. We love to hear from you, so leave your reviews, comments, and questions. Check out our website, sustainingcreativity.com, for upcoming offerings and creativity coaching. Tune in Tuesdays for our next episode. And remember, with creativity, anything's possible.